All right, welcome to the truck driving program at Kalinga College. Right now I'm going to go over the specifics of the pre-trip inspection, which you will perform at the DMV when you get your license. This is a modernized pre-trip, which is slightly different. California happens to be one of the states that is using modernized testing. I'll be using a cheat sheet and a pointer so that I can make sure I hit all the points correctly. When you go to the DMV, there is a checklist that you're allowed to use if you would like, but you will not be able to use the script that I'm using today. So as I begin, we're starting this test after we've completed our in-cam test. As I approach the truck, I'm looking for fluid leaks, no puddles of oil, water, or fuel. I'm also looking to see if the truck's leaning to one side or another, which could indicate a lower flat tire, broken leaf spring, or blown shock. I'm going to check that my headlights are clear, clean, and not broken. I'm also going to check my clearance lights up on top of the visor there, and my turn signals, that they're clear, clean, not broken or missing, and that they're amber in color. Okay, now we'll open the hood. There's two ways to do this. Either you can grab on the pull handles here and open, but for this truck it's much easier to come over to the fender and lift at the fender. This also puts us in the ideal position to continue our inspection. Okay, we're going to be checking our coolant level. It needs to be between the add and full marks. Then just generally we're stepping back and looking at the area, making sure that we have no hose leaks, fuel, oil, or water. We're listening for air leaks as well to make sure we don't have air leaks. Okay. Once you've checked for air leaks, you're now going to go to the driver's side of the vehicle. Now on the driver's side, we have more items to look for. We're checking our engine oil, that it's between the marks. At this point, we don't actually do a check of the engine oil. We just need to point it out to our examiner. Checking our power steering fluid, again, between the add and full marks, and no hose leaks. We're checking again for no hose leaks, fuel, oil, or water, and listening for air leaks. Okay, now we move to our steering system. Our first item here is our steering box. On our steering box, we're making sure it's securely mounted, no loose or missing nuts or bolts, and no leaks. Steering hoses and connections on both sides there are not cracked, worn, or leaking. We have our pitman arm, our drag link, and our upper steering arm back here, as well as our lower steering arm, which is out of view. But we're making sure that they're secure, not worn, cracked, no missing cotter keys, no loose or missing nuts or bolts. Okay, now we're moving on to our front suspension. Our spring brackets, we have one in the front here, as well as one in the rear. We want to make sure that they're secure, not cracked, broken, or missing, no missing parts, no loose or missing nuts or bolts. Our spring, want to make sure that our spring is not missing, shifted, cracked, and no broken springs. Our shock absorber, want to make sure that it's not damaged or leaking, no loose or missing nuts or bolts. Our brake hoses come right here from the frame over to our brake chamber, and we want to make sure that they're secure, not worn or frayed, and no air leaks. Okay, our next inspection item is going to be our brake lining. This isn't visible on these front wheels very well, but we still have to inform the examiner about our brake lining. It needs to be secure, not worn less than 1/4 inch thick, or contaminated with oil. Okay, now we move on to our front tire. Our front tire is at the correct pressure, 100 psi, checked with a gauge. The examiner has to hear checked with a gauge for you to get the points on this. Additionally, our tread depth. Tread depth is required to be 40 to 30 seconds of an inch, also checked with a gauge. And the proper terminology in truck driving is 430 seconds. We're not worried about the math and reducing the fraction. Our sidewall of our tire, so this is the area between the rim and the tread of the tire. We want to make sure that there's no cracks, cuts, or bubbles. Now we're checking our rim, not cracked, bent, or weld repaired. Our studs and bolt holes, which are just right behind this cover, we're making sure that they're not elongated, no loose or missing nuts or bolts. Our lug nuts and studs, no rust trails or shiny threads that may show looseness, no broken studs. And then our valve stem. Our valve stem, they're accessible, straight, and not cracked or leaking. Okay, now we're moving on to the side of the truck here. Okay, again, we're looking for our clearance lights. This is a clearance and turn signal here. Amber in color, clean, not broken or missing. Mirrors, clean, not cracked, brackets are not bent, mounted securely, no missing parts. Batteries. Batteries are secure, connections are tight, and no excessive corrosion. Battery box cover is secure, and the batteries are not visible. Okay, we have electrical cables back here that we can see. We're letting them know that electrical cables and lines are secure, not cracked or worn. Okay, now we're moving on to our fuel tank. Our fuel tank and brackets are securely mounted. Cap is tight. And there are no leaks from the tank or lines. Our DEF tank or diesel exhaust fluid tank, brackets are securely mounted. Cap is tight. No leaks from tanks or lines. Okay, now we move back to the frame of our truck. So we've got our two rails here on either side and our cross members. And we're just looking to make sure that there's no cracks, broken welds, holes or other damage to frame members, no loose or missing nuts or bolts. Okay, now we're looking at our air and electrical lines. Okay, connections on the truck and trailer are seated, sealed, and not damaged. So that's on this end, and then on this other end here as well. Okay, air hoses and electrical cords are not cut, cracked, chafed, spliced, taped, or worn, and no air leaks. They're not tangled, crimped, pinched, or dragging against the truck frame. I know they're close here, but we want to make sure that there's some gap. And you want to be mindful, sometimes if you switch trailers, your trailer could be a different length and you may have to adjust this. Okay, our fifth wheel. Okay, our fifth wheel is a little hard to see under the truck here, but what I'm pointing at here is the fifth wheel skid plate. It's securely mounted to the vehicle by the fifth wheel platform. It's not cracked or broken, no excessive wear, no gap, and properly greased. And then the mounting bolts, which are all along the frame here. There's no loose or missing nuts or bolts. Okay, for this next bit, you're going to have to crawl under the truck here. We're looking at the kingpin. A detailed photo of this can be found in the pre-trip PowerPoint. But the kingpin, we're making sure that it's in place, not bent, damaged, or worn. And then from down here, we can also see the apron, which is this flat piece of metal. And when we're looking for a gap with the fifth wheel, we don't want a gap between the apron and the fifth wheel skid plate. Okay. Now we're looking at the locking jaws. The locking jaws should be fully secured around the kingpin, no play between the kingpin and the locking jaws. Okay, one other thing that we're going to check while we're down here, this truck has a sliding fifth wheel. We're checking that our sliding fifth wheel pins are locked, and that there's adequate clearance between the rear of the tractor and our landing gear back here. We'll take a look at that again when we look at our landing gear. And I think that's it here. So now, okay, again, like we mentioned, the sliding fifth wheel pins, what we're looking for is that there's adequate clearance between the rear of the truck here and our landing gear to safely turn. Okay, at this point, we're going to start back at the front of the trailer. And we're checking our lights again, clearance lights. Amber in color, not broken or missing. Our glad hands. So the glad hand is our connection device here at the front of the trailer. We're looking at specifically the trailer side now. So on the two sides. And we want to make sure that our glad hands are in place, secure, no leaks, and our seals are in place. Our electrical connector is secure and not loose. Okay, now we'll move to the side of the trailer. Okay, now we're checking our landing gear. Want to make sure that our landing gear is fully raised, no missing parts. Crank handle is secure. Support frame and landing pads are not damaged. These are the landing pads. Or support frame are these braces that come down from the frame. You know, we have them coming front to back and side to side also. Okay, and it's really important these are raised up all the way. You may think that you get them up far enough, but then when you start going over, over railroad tracks or other crowned roads, or if you guys are working in ag and you're on dirt roads, If these are down too far, they can hang up and cause issues. Okay, now we're looking at the side of our trailer, just our general frame. We're making sure that there's no cracks, broken welds, holes, or other damage in the frame members. We'll also look at the trailer floor. We want to make sure that there's no cracks, breaks, or holes in the trailer floor. And then right back here to our reflective tape. As you can see, it's all down the side of the trailer. Reflective tape is present and affixed securely to the trailer, and it's proper color, red and white. Okay, we're almost to the end, guys. Okay, now back to the rear of the trailer. Okay, the rear of the trailer, we're checking that our tail lights, stop lights and turn signals, and clearance lights are all red in color, clean, not broken or missing. And again, looking that our reflective tape is present and affixed securely to the trailer, and it's the proper color, red and white. At this point, this will complete your walk-around portion of the inspection. Make sure and watch the video on your light test and in-cab test. Thank you.